Welcome back to Scissors and Scrubs. I'm Nicole.
I'm Laura.
Well, we had a very exciting thing happen to us, and then
Didn't
it
happen.
fizzled out. It was like, wah, wah, wah. So we got an email from Rainn Wilson's PR. For those of you who don't know him by the name Rainn Wilson, it is
I
Laura.
can't think of his name.
Dwight Schrute.
Dwight, thank you.
I can't believe she just said that.
You know
it's
I
Dwight
know it.
Schrute.
I can't. You know how I
Probably
am with
one
words.
of the
No recall.
greatest sitcom characters ever. He's right up there
hysterical.
with Squiggy. He is right up there with Squiggy.
Oh no, I don't like Squiggy.
Squiggy is one of probably my favorites.
Ugh, no, I
Laverne and
hated
Shirley.
Squiggy. I hated Squiggy.
Hello. He's my
Ugh,
favorite.
I hated him.
I loved him. Hello. He'd always come in. Hello.
But I love
Len.
Dwight Schrute. I can tell you that.
So to me, my top two, and apparently now it's a thing, my top three sitcom or whatever you want to call them characters are Lenny, Dwight Schrute, and Thing. So we got a call. He has now made another movie. And they wanted us to interview him, which
Yes.
I almost shit to do this movie.
Yes.
So they sent us a link. We watched the movie. We couldn't coordinate any times because they're West Coast, we're East Coast, Best Coast.
We work.
And we work, and it just
He
didn't
had movie
happen.
premiere stuff.
So if you're listening, Rainn Wilson, which I doubt you are, but if you are listening, we did watch the movie, and we're going to discuss the movie.
Yes.
We're going to discuss. So the movie is called Code 3. And in the movie, he plays Code Red or Code 3?
I have no idea what the movie
I
is
don't know,
called.
it's Code something.
You're gonna have to take this up.
It might be Code
What
Red.
is
I
the
thought
name
it was
of it?
Code 3.
I think it was Code Red.
I think you might be right.
I literally could not tell you what the name of the movie is.
It's
nor
Code
could I tell you
something.
The name of his character.
But he plays a burnt out paramedic. Like,
Hold
this
on, I
guy
think we should
is
probably
fried.
Start over.
All right.
Oh, it is Code 3.
I was right about something.
See that?
I'm like, I have no idea what the
All right,
name
so where
is.
do you want to pick up?
Well, now you fucked the whole thing up.
Just start with the movie was
Okay.
Code 3.
So the movie is called Code 3, and it's Rainn Wilson as a burnt out paramedic. And it's his last 24-hour shift. He's quitting, he's getting another job. It's his last 24-hour shift. So that's what the movie's about. So I think first maybe we'll talk about what an EMT is, what a paramedic is,
Okay.
and then we will give our reviews of the movie
Okay.
at the end. Does that sound well?
Sounds good.
So I took the EMT paramedic role since back in the late 1900s. I was an EMT. I went to EMT school. I hated college, so I dropped out. I took an EMT class with Paul in, I think, 1991. Somewhere 92. And I worked as an EMT from 92 till I started at MGH in 94. 2 years of my life, one of the best jobs I've ever had. I loved it. It pays shit.
Yeah.
But I loved the excitement. I loved the variety. I loved not having to be in a room. Like you were outside, you eat shit, you look like shit, but it's a fun job.
Yeah.
So what is an EMT, also known as an emergency medical technician? Never refer to them as ambulance drivers. It's insulting.
Yeah. They don't just drive.
They don't just drive an
They do
ambulance.
drive it, but
people
that's
would
not
say
their
that's,
job.
oh, so you're an ambulance driver. I'm like, no, I'm an EMT. Somebody else actually drives the ambulance. They're also EMTs.
Yes.
But it's really insulting to say that because they do more. And the amount of training they get and the amount of pay they get does not equal the stuff that in some cities and towns, what they're actually walking into. So an EMT, emergency medical technician, is a trained healthcare professional who provides basic medical care to patients in emergency situations. They are first responders to medical emergencies, accidents. They provide critical care. They stabilize patients before they can be transported to a hospital or other healthcare facility. Their primary responsibilities include assessing patients' conditions, administering BLS, also known as basic life support, interventions such as CPR. They control bleeding. They immobilize injured patients and provide emergency medical transportation. They can work in a variety of settings, including ambulances, fire departments, and hospitals. A lot of ERs have EMTs in them, which I know that sounds weird, but smaller ERs will have EMTs in them. They play a vital role in providing timely and life-saving care to individuals in need. Now, this particular, actually, every article is going to classify paramedic as an advanced level EMT. If you are a paramedic or an EMT, you never consider yourself. Paramedics do not consider themselves EMTs. They are paramedics. So just for that safety, I will continue what I'm saying. So a basic EMT is also known as EMTB or just an EMT. Like I said, they provide basic emergency medical care. They can do CPR, basic airway management, meaning they can like give you a jaw thrust, but they can't intubate. They can splint, bandage. It says administer medications. In the state of Massachusetts, all you're administering is oxygen. They work in ambulance service, fire departments, and other EMS settings. An advanced EMT has additional training and certification beyond the EMT basic. They are trained to perform more advanced medical procedures and interventions, including IV therapy, advanced airway management, and a broader range of medications. In the state of Massachusetts, I have never worked with anybody considered an advanced EMT. I am also drawing from knowledge from 30 years ago. All right. Maybe longer because, late 1900s. Paramedics. They are the highest level of EMTs. They are their own level. They have the most advanced training and certification. They are trained to provide ALS, also known as advanced life support. They can do advanced airway management, which means they can intubate a patient. They do cardiac monitoring, IV therapy, which means they can put an IV in the back of a truck. They administer medications. They can read ECGs, but it should be EKGs, I think. Paramedics, they play a critical role in managing complex medical emergencies and trauma cases, often working in ambulance services, ERs, critical care transport teams. Like if you've got a patient really sick from the ICU or these little tiny neonates, they're not giving you an EMT to transport that patient. They're bringing you paramedics because the nurse might need backup. So what are the competencies that would be necessary? Like you're thinking, I want to be an EMT. What kind of things do you need to have to be an EMT? You have to be an effective communicator. When you're an EMT and you show up a scene, one of my very last calls, this was stuck with me all these years, a young kid had hung himself. Ugh. And when we got there with the EMTs, the police had gotten there first, and the policeman at the scene knew the kid. And had just seen the kid at one of the local pubs. So he had cut the kid down and started CPR. Now, in the state of Massachusetts, I think it's in most states, once you start CPR, you cannot finish it until the doctor declares them dead. So they have to go to the ER. You have to transport. So this policeman had started CPR on this kid. When we got there, the scene was chaos. Yeah. Absolute chaos. The mother was in our face, screaming and crying to save her son. People are everywhere. And you as the EMT have to say, like, you need to go over here. You need to do this. I got that. You have to manage the scene because everybody's looking for somebody to tell them what to do. This poor kid had done a good job. It was very obvious he was not going to make it. But the cop, I just think, was so upset. Yeah. And what I take from the whole thing is the Nirvana poster on the kid's wall. And we have our equipment over. The room was kind of a mess. And there was a little kitten. He had just gotten a kitten. Aww. So going through all our stuff while we're doing CPR and all, is this little tiny kitten. All I could think about is who's going to take the kitten? Because he's not coming back, So you have to know how to handle and communicate. And sometimes I was 19 and I'm telling grown-ass people what to do, and not at 19 do you have that kind of confidence. You need empathy and compassion. You are going to come across people, frequent flyers, who they may have OD'd for the 10th time that day. You cannot treat them poorly. You take a lot of elderly, and elderly, when they're not feeling good, can be really miserable.
As anybody can.
Again, another story. We had this one gentleman we took from he went every 3 days to dialysis. His toes were black. He was nasty, and he'd swear and he'd yell at you. And some of the men I would work with on purpose would hit his feet to get him going. Yeah. So we were moving him and I accidentally hit his feet and he starts cursing me out. And I said, you know what? It was an accident. I didn't mean to hit your feet. I would never do it again. He's like, I know, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled at you. So if you just treated him with a little kindness, you got it back. So you have to, even though it can be very, very difficult, you have to have empathy and compassion. You have to have critical thinking skills. You have to know how to translate with, okay, this isn't going to work. We're going to try this. Okay, we're going to try you can't get stuck in the weeds. You have to be able to pivot real quick. Stress management. It's an extremely stressful job. Paramedics more so. because they're intubating and they're IVs in the back of a truck. But both of the jobs are extremely, extremely stressful. Physical fitness, some of the guys I work with, they eat a lot of fast food on the road. It helps, and you have to be able to work with the team.
Yeah.
You have to be able to take orders. You have to be able to give orders. So to be an EMT, you have to meet basic EMT requirements. It was a 3-month program. When I went through it, it might have changed. You have to go to an accredited EMT program. You have to complete the training, and then you have to go through a state testing. They said something about federal testing, but each state has its own requirements. Yeah. So you have to apply for your licensure through the state. And actually, that's how the first time I ever met my husband was. I had already had my EMT license. My brother and my husband were going for theirs, and I was the victim. So that is for EMT. Paramedics. You get this. It's like 1,000 hours or more of training. So it's usually a year because paramedics are learning to do IVs. They're learning to intubate. They have to learn pharmacology and all the medications that they need. They have to read EKGs. They have to be able to read all the different waves and stuff that somebody has and how to treat that wave. So it's a much more intense program. Again, when I went through it, nurses could challenge the paramedic test and they could work on an ambulance as a paramedic. Paramedics cannot challenge the nursing boards, and that was always a huge bone of contention.
Yeah.
Pay. So when I started in the late 1900s, I was making $8 an hour.
Yeah.
And when I think what I was doing for $8 an hour is fucking ridiculous. So today, EMTs can make between $25,000 and $35,000, which is barely able to live on. Intermediates can make $35,000 to $45,000, and paramedics make $45,000 to $60,000. One of these things in the movie Code 3 that I thought was very interesting is one of the opening scenes is they're panning through the ER and they're showing you like how much the ER doctor makes, how much the nurse practitioner makes, how much this one makes, the radiology tech, everybody that works in the OR. And then they hit you with, as the paramedics coming through the door, what they make. And it's peanuts compared to what they're seeing and doing is intense. So once you have it, you need to keep up with CEUs, continuing education. You have to have competencies. There is a national registry of EMTs that you can do, which would be like our CNOR. You don't have to have it, but they have it. You need your state-specific requirements that you would have to keep up on. And apparently now we're doing background checks on EMTs to make sure you're not a complete psychopath.
I mean, most jobs you need a background check.
You do. Yeah, you do. You should be quarried. Yeah. So that is an EMT versus a paramedic.
Okay, I did flight medics versus flight nurses. What's the difference there? Because everybody's just like, oh, you're a flight nurse, but some of them are
they're
medics.
not the paramedics.
So flight medics are also called flight paramedics or air medics, are trained to provide medical care in various settings, including the air. They are able to assess and treat patients with various medical conditions. In addition to their medical training, flight medics also receive training on aviation and safety. This enables them to provide like appropriate and safe care while in the air. The primary job is to provide medical care, including assessing and treating patients with like a million different medical conditions. And usually if you're in a helicopter, they're not good. But they also can transport patients from hospital to hospital. Like you said, like if you have a NICU baby in a small hospital and you're bringing them to a NICU in a large hospital, they're probably going to send them by helicopter. And you're going to have a flight medic. Since flight paramedics are flying at low altitudes, they face higher risk than ambulances in emergencies.
Because you could hit a plane. I mean,
and they have to know like in-flight safety protocols.
No,
I don't want to know any of that. Some of the jobs for some of the responsibilities for flight medics are giving medication, injections, and IVs, assessing and stabilizing patients, keeping track of the medical supplies, checking first aid equipment, taking patients from additional medical care, communicating with remote medical control and doctors while treating patients. So they're treating you, they're doing all this life-saving interventions, and they're talking to the hospital they're landing at, telling them what's going on, which they call
They do that in the trucks too.
Yeah. They're calling the desk all the time to us like, oh, we're coming in, we're 15 minutes out, we're doing this, we're doing that. I'm like, okay, like they're calling while flying and treating a patient. And they perform advanced medical procedures such as intubation, ventilator management, general anesthesia, paralysis.
Yeah. They're doing everything that
doing
in our
everything
hospital
out there.
specialize.
Yeah.
You would have 8 people doing that.
Average flight paramedic salary. According to Pay Scale, the average hourly pay for a flight paramedic is $23.15.
That's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, this is nationwide.
It's still small for a
$23.15.
Oh.
You are intubating patients. You are putting them on
You're
ventilators.
in a helicopter.
You're giving general anesthesia and paralyzing these
For
patients
$23
for
an hour.
$23 an hour.
They're making 20 a target.
An early flight paramedic with 1 to 4 years of experience earns an average total compensation, including like overtime and all that, of $22.97.
That's ridiculous.
That's based on 33 different salaries.
That's ridiculous.
A mid-career flight paramedic with 5 to 9 years of experience earns an average total of $22.58. That's based on 34 salaries. An experienced flight paramedic with 10 to 19 years of experience earns an average total compensation of $23.65. That's based on 56 salaries.
And that's like 2 decades of experience.
In
That's
their later
ridiculous.
career, 20 years and higher,
That's like if they can even last that long.
they can earn an average of $26 an hour.
Ooh, that's aiming high. That's aiming high.
Yep. There's many requirements to become a flight paramedic. You have to be licensed as a paramedic by the state EMS board. You have to have 3 to 4 years of critical care experience as a paramedic. You have to be BLS, ACLS, and PALS certified.
PALS is pediatric ALS.
Yeah. Then there's like different critical care credentialing, like CCPC or FPC credentialing. That's optional, but it's preferred by most employees. Candidates must have a high school diploma or equivalent. Candidates must have completed EMT paramedic or another medical training program. And candidates must have a valid driver's license, which is weird because you're not driving anything.
No.
The required skills to be a flight paramedic. They have to have the ability to work under pressure.
Yeah, you think?
They, it's a very fast-paced environment. You're in the air. The patients are in critical condition.
Usually bad. Those patients are bad.
Yeah, you have got to know how to work under pressure. You have to have excellent communication skills. They have to communicate effectively with the patients, their families, the healthcare team on the chopper, the healthcare team
hospital.
on the floor. So you have to have very good communication skills. Be clear. I could obviously not do that since I can't think of a word to save my life. You have to have good physical stamina. They have to be physically fit because they have to be able to lift the patients. You're also in a very small space.
There's also a weight limit.
There is.
Because a helicopter is going to always lift so much.
So you have to be in shape. There's weight limits. You have to be able to all fit into the chopper. So there are specific physical limits that you have to have. And you have to have good problem solving skills because like you said, they have to be able to identify and solve the problems. And if something's not working, they have to pivot quickly to do something else. Flight nurses, which are also called air nurses, are registered nurses who have received special training in aviation and safety. They also care for patients with multiple conditions in a variety of settings, including the air. A flight nurse is also called a transport nurse, is an RN who is specially trained to provide medical care to patients during aircraft transportation. The primary job of flight nurses is to keep patients stable until they reach the hospital. They work in civilian and military environments, and they can be involved in transportation by air, ground, or sea, even though they're called flight nurses. Their responsibilities are to provide basic life support to patients, assist in getting patients into and out of the aircraft safely, make sure the patient is securely seated or strapped, or whatever they are on board. They check vital signs. They maintain effective communication with team members and patients, and they're sometimes dealing with deaths.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
these patients die. According to Pay Scale, the average hourly pay for a flight nurse is $33.28. So they're making about $10 more an hour.
They're doing the same job.
An entry-level flight nurse with less than 1 year of experience can expect to earn an average total compensation of $27.76.
We start our nurses, I think, at more than that.
Oh, yeah. An early career flight nurse with 1 to 4 years of experience earns an average total compensation of $32.06. A mid-career flight nurse with 5 to 9 years of experience earns an average of $33.19. An experienced flight nurse with 10 to 19 years of experience, $37.62.
They're still not making a lot of money.
No.
They're still not making a lot
As
of
a
money.
nurse, you can make
a lot more
but I
than
mean,
that.
it depends on what state you're in.
True,
And in their
but
late
still.
career, 20 years or higher, they can be get about $38 an hour.
Ooh, watch out.
Every nurse cannot become a flight nurse. There are some basic requirements that every flight nurse needs. They should obviously have a current valid RN license in the state of practice, a bachelor's degree in nursing from an accredited institution, a minimum of 3 years full-time equivalent of critical care nursing experience.
Like ICU nurse or ER nurse.
And you have to have that to even begin training. Completion of an accredited aviation medical training program. Fitness is a must, as they have to be able to lift and move these patients.
Yes.
Obviously, excellent communication skills, just like the flight paramedics. Good problem-solving skills. The board certification for emergency nursing offers the certified flight nurse to be credentialed. To be eligible for this credential, candidates must have a current RN license at 2 years of full-time experience as a critical care nurse and must pass a written exam. So even though the responsibilities are very, very similar and the main goal is to provide care to patients in need of air transport, the salaries are obviously slightly different. The nurses are making about $10 more an hour average nationally. The main difference between the two is that flight paramedics are trained medical personnel who are responsible for the medical care of patients. In contrast, flight nurses are registered nurses who have additional training in aviation medicine. Flight nurses also have more experience working in critical care settings than flight medics.
I disagree, because don't you think that, I mean, they're working in ICUs, they're working on the streets every day and very critical. ICU is more controlled than...
I think it's just the critical care, though. You're doing more every day with the drips and the intubation and the like every day. That's what your patients are on. I think that's what they get. I don't know. I am neither of these, but that's what it seems to be.
Yeah.
If you have to have 4 years in an ICU
versus
you're doing drips into all that stuff every single day.
ICU nurses know this shit. They really do.
They're ridiculous. But that's the main difference between a flight medic and a flight nurse. They are similar,
but different.
Slightly different.
Well, now that brings us to the movie. What did you think of the movie?
I liked it. I thought it was cute.
I loved it.
I thought it was cute.
Not only did I love it, but I'm going to go on a limb here, which you are probably going to disagree with. I think that was one of the most realistic depictions of medicine.
Oh no, I thought
that I had ever seen.
I thought it was
he
really,
looks
really good.
Like every fucking paramedic.
He looks like a burnt out.
Every paramedic. He looks like the paramedic. Yeah. I loved how they broke down all of the problems with healthcare.
Yes,
they cover the problems with the hospitals, the problems on the streets, mental health. They break down everything, and then every once in a while what do they call it? Breaking through the fourth wall or something.
Yeah, fourth wall.
And he'll talk to you. And it's like, how many times, just as an OR nurse, you asked, what's the grossest thing you've ever seen?
Oh, yeah.
What's the worst thing you've ever seen? And he's right. Why do people ask that?
Right.
Why would I want to relive the worst fucking moments of my life?
And you don't actually want to know.
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know. And I missed it up a little bit. When at the end.
Yeah.
Yep. I missed it up a little bit. I thought it was excellent.
I thought it was really good.
And I don't know how this is getting promoted. I don't know if it's going to be in the big screen. But if you are in healthcare, you need to see this movie. It was very, very good. Very well done.
Yes.
The ER doctor, that actor, Robert Ridley.
He was a Marine.
He was a Marine.
Yeah.
And Brian thinks he's the funniest thing.
He is funny.
I can't imagine they would be that big of a dick.
No, I mean, he was a buff.
He was a dick.
Yeah.
But you can see why he's a dick.
Right. He's burnt out.
He is burnt out.
Right.
So I loved it. I thought it was excellent. I thought he did a great job because everybody's so used to seeing him as Dwight Schrute. Like the whole scene where he's trying to give a report and the doctor's just giving him fucking shit. And he's like, you just take my report from me. Like, I loved it. I thought it was great. I loved the twist in it with the student. I loved it. I thought it was excellent. He has no friends. He's like, I'm his best friend.
Right.
No, I'm his best friend.
Oh, I see. I'm his best friend. It was funny. It was good.
I thought it was very well done.
Medically, it was well done, I think. Like, and even just like
they had real people
telling them what to do.
Real EMTs telling them how that was done because they, right down to the fucking shit they ate.
Yeah.
I was like, we used to hit every 7-Eleven, fast food.
Yeah.
The crap, the weight these guys put on because you're eating shit. You're at 3 a.m. I'm either at Katz Bagels in Chelsea or I'm getting the leftover French fries before they switched to breakfast from McDonald's. Yeah. I was 19. I could pull it off. If I stayed in that job, I'd be dead from a heart attack with the shit I was eating.
Even when they come across the motorcycle accident and they're like coming down onto the field.
Yes.
And then the nurse comes up.
The nurse.
I'm a nurse. I was dying.
He's like, no, it isn't. How many times?
So I'm like, it's so, and she has like the little
Yes.
pediatric scrubs. Like you would know what to do in an
Yeah,
accident.
exactly. And I mean, unless it happens in front of my car, I don't get out. And Brian will be like, "You're going to stop?" I'm like, "I can hear the sirens.
Yeah.
They don't need me.
No,
what am I going to do?"
They have
all
more
the equipment,
knowledge
yeah.
and equipment than I have.
What
for
am
this.
I going to
Yeah.
do? But yeah, this is my patient. He isn't your patient.
It
you know?
was so funny. I thought that was funny.
Classic. It was
Yeah.
fucking classic. So if you get the chance to go see it, I loved it.
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to be on. I don't think they told us.
The platform.
There it is.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's going to go out on like, you know, how they put stuff out on Amazon or
So-
whatever. I don't know, but it's in the theaters now, so it's really
Code
good.
3, if you get the chance to see it, it is worth watching.
Yeah.
If you're in the medical field, you get some laughs, you get some empathy. It was very, very good. I really liked it. I would
Yeah.
absolutely watch it again.
Even if you're not in the medical field, watch it because when you're a patient in the ED and you're complaining and like, what the heck?
Right.
This is what's
This
happening.
is what's happening.
There
Exactly.
is nowhere for
Right.
these patients to go.
Right. I was laughing because as I'm watching it, so the way they gave it to us, we got a link. You could only watch for so long. You couldn't share it with many people. So every time I'm watching it, I'd be watching a scene. It would pop up. Laura Dennison. I was
In
like,
the middle of the movie, just have my name. Because like, Sam, look. It's just
like
what? I'm
every
like,
20 minutes, Laura Dennison for like 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, they clearly don't want you pirating this
No.
because everybody's going to know Laura Dennison.
no, Laura Dennison showed me this. Her name was right across it.
I was like, how come my name's not
I
on?
don't know why mine wasn't. His was. I'm like, why is it mine? I thought it was so funny.
I couldn't stop. I'm like, what the fuck? Did I hit something?
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, that says my name.
Yeah.
Wait, that says
Yeah,
my name.
multiple times your name was on it.
Well,
All right, so that's the episode for this week.
Go see Code 3.
Go get some popcorn, get yourself a nice drink, and watch some Code 3.
that was
You'll-
really
you'll
cute.
get
You know,
some-
I don't even like movies, and I thought it was
I
good.
thought it was very good. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Like, subscribe, rate, and review the Scissors and Scrubs podcast on whatever podcast app you listen to us on. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Scissors and Scrubs. And email us any of your stories or thoughts to scissorsandscrubs@gmail.com.